Okay. Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse special playoff preview edition, episode number 1. Going to try to do one of these videos every day up until the first game of the playoffs. And who knows, probably do one every day. I probably do one every day from now on until the playoffs are over, which hopefully won't be until June. That's right. Being cocky? Nah, not being cocky, just being hopeful. I mean, it's the playoffs. Everyone starts 0-0 right now. You got to push away all of the things that happen in the regular season and now look at what is in front of you. And in front of the Knicks is CADE Cunningham and his Detroit Pistons, who have made a tremendous turnaround from last season to this season. CADE has actually fulfilled the promise that he showed in college. When I was scouting him and doing a lot of draft reports, I had a feeling this guy was going to be an all-star, easily all-star, possibly even an all-NBA, possibly one of the best players in the game. He's on that trajectory. I compared him a lot to Luka. He has a very similar style. They're not speed burners. They use their body and their physicality well. They both can shoot very well. And they're good passers. Obviously, Luka is a little more creative in his passing than CADE, but CADE is coming. And there's many questions, many issues in this series to analyze, but the two main ones I'm going to begin with today, because I'll be looking at other ones as the week unfolds. I'll even be doing a couple of lives I hope to do. But the major question is this. Well, before we get to that, I will be talking about who's going to stop CADE, how are the Knicks going to stop CADE, and what are the issues with Jalen Brunson's health. Is he healthy enough? All right, let's keep going. So here is the schedule for the first round. Game 1 for the Knicks, as I mentioned before, will be on Saturday, April 19th, a 6 p.m. start for the East Coast watchers. For me, it'll be a 3 p.m. afternoon start. It'll be hosted at MSG. And I'll tell you, I can't wait. I can't wait for this. It will be on ESPN. Sadly, I wish we had Breen and Clyde doing it, but maybe for you guys at MSG who are back in New York, maybe you'll get lucky enough to have them there. Let's look at the betting odds currently right now. FanDuel. Preseason, the Knicks, after the CAT trade, the Knicks had the third best odds to win a championship. They've slipped to 6th best. The Cavs, the Lakers, and the Warriors have all jumped in front of the Knicks here on the FanDuel final betting odds, NBA Finals betting odds. I'm actually fine with that. It just shows that, the smart money is what, they like to call it, still believes that the Knicks have somewhat of a chance, are a threat, but not really, not significantly enough. You really should be in those top 3 there to be a legitimate contender in terms of how Vegas views you. But any of these 6 teams can surprise. We shall see. It's interesting to keep an eye on this as the rounds and games unfold. Here it is. Is Captain Clutch healthy enough to dominate? Well, let's put it this way. If he's not, are the Knicks cooked? That's really the more interesting way to look at it. If he is not ready, will the Knicks be able to respond and still pull off a victory here? Well, when you consider that Brunson averaged about 29 points a game against the Detroit Pistons, and CADE averaged about 30. They're a wash. So if there is a big disparity between those two, it becomes more and more difficult for either team to win. That's right. The Knicks were 1-3 against the Pistons this season. They won the very first game against them, which basically they won it because they shared the ball. Everyone was comfortable with their decisions in terms of offense. Cat was letting the ball fly from deep. There's an interesting tweet going around by Tommy Beer. Actually, let's get back to that tweet. Right here, the Knicks went 37-8, an 822 winning percentage in the 45 games in which they made 12 or more 3-pointers this season. The Knicks went 14-23, a 378 winning percentage in 37 games in which they made fewer than 12 3-pointers. Now, interestingly, the Knicks did make more than 12 3-pointers against Detroit. The first game, they made 18. That's right. They shot 47% from the 3-point line in that first game, and then they won that game 128-98. Then in the second game that they played them, the Knicks lost 124-119, but they made 15 3-pointers. So one of those losses in there was against Detroit, bucking that trend here. Then in game 3 against Detroit, where did I miss game 3? Where's game 3 here? 2. Oh, here it is. Oh, no. Yes. No, that was game 2. Sorry. In game 2, they went 11 for 34 from the 3-point line. So just by 1, they missed it, but they lost that game 120-111. So it was game 3 that they made 15 3-pointers and still lost. But in the most recent game against them, they shot 11 of 34, their worst shooting game from the 3-point line, and they lost 115-106. So you can see that basically this kind of holds true, and as we break it down, you will see that 3-point shooting for this Knicks team versus the Pistons, because they are scrappy, they love to hit those boards. They are, I mean, we got like guys like Thompson, who he goes after loose balls, creates a lot of turnovers. The Knicks turned the ball over way too many times against this team. They turned it over 17 times in the most recent game against them, and then they turned it over 18 times in that game when they made 15 3-pointers. So the turnovers is really the bugaboo here for them. And then against, they made 15 turnovers in that first loss to the Pistons. But in the game they won, they only turned the ball over 10 times. So protecting the ball as a team and putting up enough threes so they can make enough threes is the key. That's the key as a team. But we are talking about Brunson here. So let's go back to discussing Brunson himself. All right, so Jalen Brunson has never missed this much time in a regular season, or I think as an NBA pro. He missed 15 games this season. It's the most he's ever missed all at once. He's missed like three games once, then a game or two here and there, maybe 4 games at one point, but never 15 games. So you wondered, is he the same player? Well, you know, when you look at his stats, based upon his return, they're not that exciting, actually. He is averaging 26 points a game for the season, but since he returned, he's down to 21 points a game. And he's only shooting 37.5% from 3, which that's still pretty decent for most people, but for him, not necessarily. And he's only shooting 43% overall. That is not good. That is an issue. That is a problem for Mr. Brunson right now. For the season, he's shooting almost 49%. So he's down about 6 percentage points from his regular season average. And 3-point shooting, he's at 38.5%. So that dropped about a point. That didn't get as affected as much. His free throw shooting, 82%. Excellent. So what I have observed from him is he has looked better and better, more fluid as those 4 games ticked by, but it's really only 4 games we have to go on. So that's going to be tough to judge whether he is fully healthy or not. Now, fully healthy might be a bit of a stretch. That might be where we might be like asking for a little too much if he's fully healthy, but is he healthy enough to trust the ankle? Well, when you look at the most important games that he played, I mean, the Phoenix game, he did play almost 35 minutes, but only took 9 shot attempts, was 1 of 4 from the 3-point line, 15 points. He did go to the free throw line 10 times, made 8 of them. So he picked up his points from there. It was first game back. I wasn't expecting too much from him. But then his second game was against the Celtics, and that was a very important game. Went to overtime, as you recall. He was 10 of 21 overall. that shot 47%. He was 5 of 12 from the three-point line. That's almost 42% from the three-point line. So he was very effective from the three-point line there. But he only got to the free throw line twice. Did pick up 10 assists and delivered 27 points. So, I mean, look, that's to me, and that's going against a really good Boston Celtics defense, where often times it's Derek White guarding him, Drew Holiday guarding him. We're talking about elite level defenders guarding him, and he was still able to deliver that kind of point production and still be distributing the ball at a high level. I would say that game alone is indicative that he is pretty close to back to himself. Now you're like, okay, but then what happened afterwards? Well, against the Pistons, he played 29 minutes, atrocious. 5 of 15 from the field, that's 33%. 3 of 9 from the three-point line, 33%. He had a rough game against them. He was even only 2 of 5 from the free throw line there and only delivered 15 points, only 5 assists. He definitely had a problem dealing with Detroit that night. And that's the team he's going to face. So we're going to see. Okay, now, is that indicative of who he was the whole season? Now, because against the Pistons, he basically dominated them pretty handily this season. Trying to find those stats right here. Yeah, against them, beautiful. He averaged 28.3 points per game. He shot 42% from the three-point line. We're talking about the other 3 games that he played. 51.2%. All right, so you're like, okay, that's closer to what we saw against the Boston game. So he had a dip right there against the Detroit Pistons. That's going to happen. Is that a cause for concern? Does that show that maybe he's not fully healthy? Could be. Then he plays Cleveland. Very important game. Second game of a back-to-back. 36 minutes he played against them, and he shot 53% overall. 9 of 17. 43% from the three-point line. Again, the free throw, the free throws, 6 of 7, 85% from the free throw lines, delivered 27 points, but only 2 assists. So I think he was also playing a little more off ball in that game as well. But it shows you that when it comes to his offense, it's there. So you're like, okay, cool. So he has 4 games under his belt after a 15-game absence. He rested on Sunday, yesterday. He also had Saturday off as well, obviously. He's got all this week to rest up even further, to try and test that ankle a little more in practice. I think I would put my money on Brunson delivering the level of playoff dominance that he has in the past. I think he is going to return to the guy who was averaging 35 plus points a game in the postseason. I think we can depend on that. You can just pencil that in. I don't see a player who is compromised by the ankle too much. It might be more up here in his head, but as he gets more and more reps going, he will begin to return back to the dominant player that he was against the Pistons and that he normally is in the playoffs. Now let's just talk about him in the playoffs in general. In the playoffs in general, he is a beast. We saw him carry the Knicks for two playoff seasons in a row at an incredibly high level. His output, his efficiency doesn't necessarily increase, but his overall scoring output increases, and that's just because the ball is more in his hands. Now might be an issue that a lot of fans have. It's the ISO ball and all this stuff, but in the playoffs, it's going to be a part of the game, no matter what, especially in crunch time. But look at this. The Knicks got to find guys in the corner like that more often. That is something I'm looking forward to seeing the Knicks do. Oh, yeah, I picked up a charge right there. Campaign. Oh, this was early in the season. Look at Jericho Sims is still out there. All right, let's get to this. So, my answer to this question is yes. Yes, he is healthy enough to dominate. Does he need to get back more into game playing condition? Yeah, totally. Is he a guy who is obsessed with winning? Yes. Is he a winner? Yes. Is he a great leader? Absolutely. Is he clutch? Number one or number two clutch player in the NBA. Knicks are looking good with him at the helm. I don't think the ankle is going to be a concern for him in the playoffs. Okay, the next question. Let's move on here. Let's look at this, the efficiency landscape. Kurt Goldsberry puts these out. He looks at usually like the last 10 games or the last 15 games to give you a read of where teams are. And as you can see, the center axis there is defensive efficiency. So the higher you are up in that, the better defending team you are. The offensive efficiency is the horizontal axis line. So if you are here, this way. I got to point this way. The further you are that way, the better offense you have. And you can see right there in the middle as the intersection there, the Knicks and Pistons are very close to each other right there. The Knicks are a little bit in the last 15 games. Remember, this last 15 games, which Brunson missed 10 of those, 11 of those. So remember that. Brunson missed 11 of those, and the offensive efficiency is better than Detroit's has been in the last 15 games. And then when you look at the defensive efficiency, the Detroit defense, no, actually, sorry, messed that up. The defensive efficiency was better for the Knicks. Better. The offensive efficiency was better for the Pistons. That makes more sense because the Knicks have been missing Brunson. The defense definitely did sag a bit, but their defense got better. And the net ratings pretty much tell that story. So this is an interesting way to look at it. They're clustered very close to each other. The Knicks defense is rating a little bit better than the Pistons at the moment. And that's what people still complaining that we're not tough enough. We don't have enough grit. We don't have enough dogs on this team. The Detroit Pistons are trying to emulate their bad boys mentality from years ago. We're going to struggle against their physicality. Well, I have a feeling that will not be the case in this playoff series. Also remember, Mitch Robinson. He will be an extra factor in this. We will talk about Mitch later on in the week. All right. Let's get to the main question. The main question is, who is going to stop CADE? CADE is averaging against the Knicks 30 points a game, which is amazing. 30 points a game. 30.8 to be exact. He's shooting 52% from three-point line. From the three-point line, he's shooting 52%, 13 of 25. Overall, he's shooting 56%. And he does commit a lot of turnovers. He's averaging 5 turnovers per game. That's a lot. That's a lot of turnovers right there. But when you consider, okay, that he's killing us there. But what about the rest of the players? Well, Beasley has burnt us. He burnt us 2 games. He's averaging 55% from the three-point line. So the Detroit Pistons have 2 guys. They're 2 high-volume guys. The third guy is Timmy Hardaway, who is not. He's put up 24 3-point shot attempts against 3-point shot attempts against the Knicks. He's only made 7 of those. That's under 30%. So 2 guys over 50% and one at 55%. That is insane. That is something that the Knicks are going to have to address. Is Malik Beasley? He is a beast out there on the 3-point line. The next guy who has hurt the Knicks from the 3-point line is Tobias Harris, ironically. He's averaging 43% from the 3-point line on 6 of 14 shooting. Then Jaden Ivey, but he's not playing, so he's gone. But that's it. The drop-off is pretty drastic after that. This guy, Fontecchio, he's made a few 3-pointers, but really it comes down to Cunningham and Beasley. And the whole team itself is shooting 41.3% from the 3-point line against the Knicks. So the Knicks are going to have to do a they're going to have to make a concerted effort to not allow open looks for these other Pistons players. That's what we're going to have to do at this point. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the Pistons are averaging 42% against the Knicks overall. So the Knicks defense will have to step up, and that's where I see the Mitch factor coming in. But the Mitch factor isn't necessarily going to be as big a factor in terms of stopping Cunningham, though I could see him, coming off the weak side to help defense, maybe block CADE several times when he starts getting into the paint. When he gets past whoever the initial point of attack defender is, I could see Mitch having a big effect there, but he has to be on the court to do that. So Thaves is going to have to play him. All right, let's get back to this. Okay, so, this one here. Who's stopping CADE? This is, according to NBA stats, these are the matchups that CADE Cunningham has had against these Knicks players this season. Interestingly enough, the guy who has been the most effective against CADE is Mikal Bridges. That's right. Mikal Bridges has had 21 matchup minutes against CADE in the 4 games they faced each other. There's 106 partial possessions, and Mikal has scored 19 points. 19 points against Mikal in those 4 games in the 21 minutes he's faced them. He's had 12 assists, which is nice, and the team itself, when the ball is in CADE's hands during those possessions, the team has scored 112 points, and that's assists, that's free throws, that's personal fouls, all that kind of stuff. So keep going down. Deuce has played. He had for 9 minutes, and he allowed 24 points. So Deuce, in about 40% of the time that Mikal has faced him, Deuce gave up 5 additional points. So Deuce, the old Deuce on CADE thing, I think it worked back in college. Deuce was an effective defender against CADE in college. He guarded him well. I remember that. I remember watching that game. And that's one of the times I was like, oh, wait, who's this guy from West Virginia? He might be an interesting guy for the Knicks. There he is. But things are changed now. CADE has filled in. He's gotten even bigger. He's gotten savvier, smarter. He understands how to use his body, his height, his physicality against Deuce. And I think he also knows how to play against a guy like Deuce by protecting the ball against him. So look at this. He shoots 73% against Deuce and only shoots 38% against Mikal Bridges. You go down the line, OG Anunoby. A lot of people are saying, let's put OG on, just blanket CADE with OG. I may even have said it myself, but then when I looked at the numbers bear out different information. OG has guarded has guarded CADE in matchup minutes about 6 minutes. That's almost a third of what Mikal has, but he's allowed the same amount of points, 19. And that right there ain't good. He's allowing CADE to shoot 63.6% against him overall. You can see right here, this is this column here. Josh Hart, somewhat effective, 50%. DeLon Wright, I put him on here because I saw him on there. I was like, interesting. Okay. Maybe this also factors in games that DeLon played when he was with the Hawks, I believe. He actually did a decent job. Now, DeLon is 6'5". He actually, I think, was on the Pistons team at one point. So maybe he has picked up some of CADE's tendencies. He knows how to slow him down. His field goal percentage against DeLon, CADE's field goal percentage against DeLon is 43%. Everyone else gets burned. Brunson, 63%. And the worst guy to have on CADE is Karl Anthony Towns. In less than 2 minutes, he's given up 15 points. In less than 2 minutes of, head-to-head combat, CADE has scorched Cat for 15 points in just 2 minutes. That's insane. He's shooting 77% against him. So we got to keep Cat away from him. So one of the reasons why you don't want Brunson on him, because then they're going to bring Cat up, whoever Cat is guarding, come up to set the screen. Let's say it's Duren, and that screen and roll is going to kill the Knicks. So we have to keep Cat out of those actions. I like the idea of basically anticipating that switch coming and just maybe moving Cat so far off onto a different player in the corner somewhere. Maybe put him on Tobias, on Tobias Harris, and then let Josh Hart, because Josh Hart is actually a decent defender on CADE. But if we get some DeLon Wright, this is an argument to see DeLon Wright in this series. But when it comes down to it, it's Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is going to be the CADE stopper. And interestingly, with him, Mikal has also had a pretty decent series against the Pistons. He's averaged almost 20 points a game versus them on 52% three-point shooting and 56% overall. So Mikal Bridges has been crushing the Detroit Pistons. That is something that should continue. I would love to see that continue, though. It will slow him down if he's mostly the guy on CADE. But as you can see here, there hasn't been that much of a correlation. So that's something I would like to see. So the answer is not just throw OG on him, and that's it. That's it. We can not have to worry about anything else. No. I obviously, there's going to be times where OG is going to be on CADE, depending on game flow. Deuce is still going to find himself matched up with him. But any time that the Knicks can switch and get Mikal onto CADE is a must-do. It's a must-do. The numbers don't lie right here. If he can stick to CADE and slow him down and keep him, under his averages. He's averaging against the Knicks 56%. This is almost 20 percentage points lower, 18 percentage points lower. So Mikal is the answer. All right. Let's get back to this here. So one thing, let's review here we go, defensive ratings for the teams themselves. This is for the entire season. The Pistons finished in the top 10 with a 112.5 defensive rating overall as a team. The Knicks finished 13th with a 113.3. That's really less than 1 point per game per 100 possessions more. So their defenses are very, very close. But when you look at the offenses, it's a whole different story. The Knicks have the top 5 rated offense in the NBA, and the Detroit Pistons are down at 14th, which is respectable. They're more in the middle there. Then when you look at the net rating, Knicks are 8th overall with a 4 net rating, and the Pistons are 12th with a 2.1. Now, that's a significant jump, though. From there, Knicks are almost 2 points more than the Detroit Pistons in terms of net rating. And then another key stat will be turnover percentage. The New York Knicks are one of the stingiest teams with a 13.4% turnover percentage. And the Detroit Pistons, where are they? Ooh, they're 21st. So the New York Knicks that's an area that the Knicks can exploit. Now you saw, though, against the Pistons, though, the Knicks were careless with the ball. So they need to take care of the ball against them and force the Pistons into turnovers. Then comes rebounding. People were concerned about the physicality. Remember, a lot of these stats have no Mitch in it. So remember that part. Rebounding percentage. The New York Knicks are 9th best in the NBA overall. And the Detroit Pistons are, where are they? I thought they were closer. Where is Detroit? Are my eyes deceiving me? Well, here they are. They're 5th. Yeah, I had a feeling Detroit was really good. All right, 51.1%, which is decent. But again, we're talking only a 0.3 percentage difference right here between these two. So they're virtually identical rebounding teams overall. But when you look at the offensive rebounding percentages, it's a slightly different story. The Knicks are 9th best with a 30.5, and Detroit is right below them. Oh, they're tied. They're almost identical right there. So the defensive rebounding percentage is where Detroit has the edge, slightly. So they're very comparable defensive rebounding teams. That's going to be another key thing to look at in terms of who has the advantage there. Let's look at. There we go. New York Knicks, as I mentioned, Brunson averaged 26 points per game for the season on almost 49% field goal shooting, 38% from the three-point line, 82% from the free throw line. Fantastic numbers up and down. Karl Anthony Towns, he averaged 24.4 points per game for the season, 52.6% from the field goal percentage, and 42% from the three-point line. But, when it comes to head-to-head combat, Towns actually did not play to his season averages versus the Pistons. He only shot 46% against them. And he only shot 43% is really good from the three-point line, but he only shot 46% overall, but only attempted 16 three-pointers. Said it many times, Cat has to attempt more three-pointers. There's just no if, ands, or buts about it, especially when you look at the overall numbers. I mean, if he's going to average 6 percentage points less from the field, he's going to have to make up those points somewhere, and that is from the three-point line. Plus, stretches the defense out, keeps Duren away from the paint, and allows other guys to have some room to operate, including Brunson himself, Josh Hart. So that is going to be a very, very important key stat right there. Okay, so that's episode 1. Who will stop CADE? It's going to be Mikal Bridges. Of course, it's going to be a team effort. Everyone's got to do their best to stop him. But one of the other keys is to not double him too much. That's right. Let Mikal do his thing, because one of the things that CADE is very effective at is finding guys out beyond the arc. Open players. He's very good at finding the open guys. And if guys like Beasley and Tobias Harris, who lives in that corner, I mean, Beasley shoots like 55% from the corner or something like that, something crazy. Eliminate that option. Keep guys out there. Don't let those guys sag and basically allow vision for CADE to find those guys. No. Clog those lanes up. Clog those passing lanes up, but let Mikal stick to them, and only at the last second can the other guy, help defender, come over like a Mitch, who can take up a lot of size, block a lot of vision, and his hands are active. He can swat balls easily in the air. That's how we need to approach the Cade Cunningham problem, basically, because he is a problem. Now, the other thing, though, that I didn't talk about here is the playoff pressure. The playoff pressure is real. Cade hasn't faced any real important games. He hasn't played an important game yet as a pro. So I think he's going to get more rattled than he expects himself. Okay. Again, thank you for watching this. My name is George. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button for me, and drop your comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings about anything Knicks. And turn on the notification bell so you're alerted when I go live or I drop a new video. Like I mentioned, I will be doing lives this week as well. Man, can't wait. The clock's ticking. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.